Shalom, everybody. Hey, world, and welcome to ReligionWinked TV and this edition of the Morning Read, episode 317, y'all. I'm amazed. I'm impressed. I am so impressed and proud of myself and you for hanging in there with me, right? So welcome. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the morning read. I know it's about 9:34 p.m. East Coast time on January 5th, 2022, but we're about to get this read in, okay? And make it do what it do. You know, some people like to get up and read people to filth, but we like to get up and read people to life. That's life more abundantly. Why? Because we know Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And except the man, woman, or child come through him, the Messiah, they cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. According to John chapter 10, verse 7 through 18, and John 14 and 6. Also, disclaimer, we know that there's some people who can't physically see, they're hurt, they don't know how to read the Bible, comprehend the Bible, um, lost souls, demonic souls, wickedness, mental health, all kinds of people can benefit. You and I, we can benefit from this morning read, right? So with that being said, y'all, don't forget your Bibles and your teacups. And basically, when the music go off, we're getting into Genesis chapter 13, 14, and 15. And if you guys want to donate $1 for each Bible verse, there's 18 in chapter 13. There's 18. There's 24, making that 42. And then there's 21. So like 63 Bible verses. You're watching ReligionWinked TV and my spiritual ears stay. Yes, that bell sounds good to me. So getting right into the morning read because I don't want it publishing after 12 o'clock. How are you guys doing today? God bless you and welcome. So in 13 verse 1, and Abram went up and out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. So they go into the south, wherever that is. 2, and Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And I believe this is why some people in the world, some religions that weren't based in the 12 tribes of Israel and Abraham, such as Christianity, likes to attach themselves to the Abrahamic covenant, the inheritance, and all of that because he was really rich. More so than most entities in the world today. He had it going on. All right. And plus, he had a covenant with God, right? 3, and I'm telling you, that'll make us all rich, spiritually, wealthy, if we just get right with God, right? So 3 says, and he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai. Hai is H-A apostrophe dash I. Hai. 4, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first, and there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Where's the first place you ever called on the name of the Lord? Where's the first place you ever cried out to God or spoke to God or reasoned with God, right? And then 5 says, and Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. It didn't say he had cattle, silver, and gold like Abraham, no, right? He's the nephew. Remember, he's the nephew in Psalms 83 that turned on Abraham and the 12 tribes. All right, so 6 says, and the land was not able to bear them, they that might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. 7. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. Maybe this is why he got mad at Abraham and Jacob and the 12 tribes. There was some beef going on. And the Canaanite and the Perizzites dwelled then in the lands. Let me take you to Psalms 83 real quick. Let's go over to Psalms 83. So these are the tabernacles of Edom. These are all the people that conspired. Edom, the Ishmaelites of Moab. See, there's Ishmael. Oh, man. I was trying to tell y'all in that video about Boaz and Ruth today how there's two separate Moabs, two different Moabs in the land, okay? And the Ishmaelites is of Moab. The Hagarenes, Jebel, Ammon, Amalek, Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre. Asshur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. See, Lot went against his own people. There's nothing new under the sun. Some of you are going against your own people. Some of your people are going against you. Some of my people have come up against me. And believe it or not, I come back up against those same people. You can no longer sit back and let people come up against you and persecute you without protecting yourself and providing spiritual sanctification in the midst of it all, right? So 6 says, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so they could not dwell together. One had to go one way, one had to go the other way. 7 says, and there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled then in the land. 8. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between me, my herdmen, and thy herdmen. For we be brethren, we're relatives. Why are we beefing? Your cattle is my cattle is your cattle. Or is it, right? 9, Lot's probably jealous of Abram because, as we see, Abraham is the one walking with God right now. And there's going to be strife. When there's a lot of gold, a lot of money, a lot of silver, a lot of cattle, you got two alpha males, it seemed like. You got the uncle Abram at the time now, and you have Lot, the nephew, and it's going to be strife. It's when you're walking with that amount of people and, like I said, substance, there's going to be problems, right? So 8 says, and Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. 9. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee. Go your way. Why stay here and argue? If this spot is not big enough for all of us, he said, don't you see all the land out there? Don't you see the world out there? Go your way. He says, separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. And he goes on to say, or if you go to the right, then I'll go to the left. Whichever way you go, I'm going to go the opposite way. far, far, far opposite of you, okay? And Abraham probably see and feel the tension in Lot because we're in Genesis chapter 13. By the time you read forward and get to the book of Psalms, you see Lot. he went left all right. Right into the hands of the Edomites, and he came up against the children of Israel. And at this point, I believe Lot has a lot to do with us. Excuse me. I believe that Lot has a lot to do with us being handed over prior to Paul, if you know what I mean. All right, so now it goes on to say in verse 10, and Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. So, wow. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was all well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And I think this is why Lot is mad as well. Sodom and Gomorrah is where his wife was destroyed because she did what? She looked back, and God said, do not look back. I'm about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Do not look back. And she looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. And I believe Lot, no pun intended, been salty ever since. Verse 11. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. 12. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain and pitched his tent toward Sodom. He's very salty. He's looking at where his wife, unless he wanted the men of Sodom, let's keep it real, because remember when they approached Sodom and Gomorrah, basically what happens is there's women with them as well, but the men wanted the men to come inside the camp, inside the building, inside the establishment. They didn't want the women to come in. God says, move from that place. I'm going to burn it down and seize Sodom and Gomorrah, destroy it. Hellfire, brimstone, boom, boom, boom. And I think Lot is still kind of salty behind that. So it goes on to say, 13. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. So again, I think Lot kind of junked the Kool-Aid, And again, he had a different kind of motive in mind. 14. And the Lord said unto Abraham, 13 says, but the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. 14. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. He's saying, look, all you had to get rid of is Lot. He was dead weight. He was baggage. He was causing you problems. And sometimes once you let go and let God, this is when the real blessing comes in, people. This is when you see the windows of heaven open up so big to pour you out a blessing you really can't contain. He says, look north, look west, look south, look eastward. 15. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. God says, this is your land, Abraham, and any descendants that come out of you. And who Why do they drive all of God's people, black people, indigenous, aboriginal, Indians, and I'm talking all 12 tribes of us, into the most impoverished parts of the city, the towns? They just know how to gentrify us through gentrification. Yeah, everything God says we would have in abundance, they come along and make sure we want for it. And remember, I told you a slave man's mentality is a master's mentality. A slave man's mentality is the opposite of the master's. The master's is, I'm going to give you what you crave, and in return, I'm going to get what I want. Okay? So, with that being said, we got to stop craving for these things, especially from the hand of the enemy, okay? So 15 says, for all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. 16, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. And we know Abraham's seed cannot be numbered, right? 17, especially with all the mixing and going outside of our bloodline and not being able to keep it pure, but the Abraham's seed cannot be numbered, okay? 17, arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. And the last verse of chapter 13, then Abram removed, verse 18 that is, then Abram removed, and notice here his name is not Abraham yet, right? So God is in the business of changing people's name and giving them new identity, right? Then Abram removed his tent and camp and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. Let's take a moment right now, wherever you are, and build your altar unto the Lord. You can have many altars unto the Lord. Everywhere you go, everywhere you praise, everywhere you give homage unto the Lord, build you an altar there. Now, you don't necessarily have to take out things and set things up in your heart at that place at a specific time. Now, in Abram's instance, they built altars. They got that shit and wood out, and they got things. They got the shoe. They got things set up. They got an animal and all that. Do it in your heart. Do it in your mind. Do it in your soul. Do it in your spirit, okay? Going into chapter 14, verse 1, let's read. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedaralamar, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. 2, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shibnab, king of Admah, and Sheeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. Verse 3, and all these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the salt sea. See? Oh, lot salty everywhere he go, huh? Salt sea, salt tea, pillar of salt. For 12 years they served Chedorlaomer. In the 13th year they rebelled. 5, and in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims and Ashtaroth, Karnanim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Emims in Sheva in Carathaim. So, okay, these are some black names here. When you cannot pronounce names like this, they're definitely black names. Verse 6, and the Horites in their Mount Seir unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. This is why people don't want to read the Bible in certain areas. Embarrassed. Most people can't pronounce these words and feel shameful that they can't, being spiritual and supposed to be people of God. But no, don't be. Some of the words I can't pronounce. I do the best I can. And that's all I'm here to do, is encourage you to do the best that you can. So, 6 says, and the Horites in their Mount Seir unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. 7, and they returned and came to En-Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hazazon-Tamar. Hazazon-Tamar. That's a big word. H-A-Z apostrophe E-Z-O-N dash T-A apostrophe dash M-A-R. Hazazon-Tamar. Okay, like Hazel. Hazazon in the last part is Tamar. Verse 8, and there went out the king of Saddam, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same is Zoar, and they joined battle with them in the vale of Siddim. So Sodom and Gomorrah was catching some war at one point. They were fighting. They were beefing. And I still think Lot, for some reason, is in love with Sodom and Gomorrah. And not only that, he's heartbroken because of it as well, because that's where he lost his wife. Anybody know the name of Lot's wife? Can you put it down in the chat if you know Lot's wife's name? So, 8 says, and there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same is Zoar, and they joined battle with them in the vale of Siddim. 9. With Chedar is Ked or Laomer, the king of Elam. Now, the king of Elam, if you look on Saudi Arabia, which is Africa, there is a city or a region or a nation called Elam. The son of Shem, one of the descendants of Shem, was named Elam. And he was said to go toward the Saudi Arabia area over there. So when you look on the map of Saudi Arabia, you're going to see a place called Elam, E-L-A-M, and it's the same descendant in the lineage of Shem. I do believe that's what I've been researching and coming up with. And so when everybody did not get scattered and brought over to America, some people went and basically made home in other regions of the world, okay? So now 9 says, with Kedorla Emar, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations. Oh, Goyim, king of nations, king of Goyims, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Ariah, king of Elasar, 4 kings with 5, 4 kings against. 10 says, and the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountain. 11. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and their victuals and went their way, their provisions, and went their way. 12. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. 13. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abraham. Now listen, they call Abraham a Hebrew here, okay? I keep trying to tell you, there's no way the Greeks, the Romans, are supposed to have Abraham's covenant. 14. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. Now you got to remember, Dan is one of them little tribes of the 12 tribes who got cast out because he turned wicked, right? Report says he went on to be the Sanhedrins, the Pharisees, the scribes, definitely against God. 15. And he divided himself against them, and he and his servants by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobad, which is on the left-hand side of Damascus. That same road Paul said he was on when he heard a vision from a Hebrew tongue. 16. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot. Now he's calling Lot his brother here, okay, but they're definitely uncle and nephew, and his goods, and the women also, and the people. 17. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Kedorlaomer, of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale, the king's valley, okay? It's the king's valley, y'all. Hold on 1 second. The king's valley. Okay. So that was the dale. Verse 18, and Melchizedek, king of Salem. So this could be Jesus, right? I mean, this could be the Messiah right here. Because they said in the book of Hebrews, we had read that after the order of Melchizedek came the Messiah. So Melchizedek is just basically introduced here as a high priest of Salem. Shalom. He brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. Just like the Messiah. Just like Christ. 19. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. Ooh, Lord have mercy. See, Melchizedek blessed Abraham, but Paul's going to tell you over in the book of over in the book of Hebrews, that Abraham blessed Melchizedek. Trying to get money out of y'all in the church. Talking about tithing and all that. Basically, all it says here is that Melchizedek is a high priest of God. He blessed Abraham and said Abraham is of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. God is possessor of heaven and earth. Abraham is just blessed by him, okay? 20 says, and blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. So who's doing the tithing here? Is Melchizedek tied into Abraham, or is Abraham tied into Melchizedek? Because Paul will have you believe that Abraham is tied into Melchizedek, but it seems like Melchizedek is giving something up to Abraham. And remember, in the book of Hebrews, it tells you, let's go there. We got to go there real quick, guys, because it tells you that Melchizedek met up with Abraham after the War of the Kings. This is the War of the Kings. Abraham was out here fighting the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah and any other king. But go to Hebrews chapter 7. Oh, right there. Verse 1. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him. Melchizedek blessed Abraham. Abraham didn't bless the high priest of God. The high priest of God blessed Abram. So it goes on to say, y'all, we almost done too. We are almost done, y'all. So, 21, and the king of Sodom said unto Abram, give me the persons and take the goods to thyself. 22, and Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lift up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth. 23, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abraham rich. See, this is what I'm trying to tell the black people here in America. ADOS, fundamentally black, the FBAs of America. Listen, you don't want nothing from the enemy. The first thing they gonna say is, oh, we made you rich. No. Remember the story of, what's his name? Akai. Lord said, do not touch the unclean thing. Abraham's smart. Abraham like, yeah, I don't want nothing from you. You gonna say you made me rich. No, this richness comes from the Lord. I don't want nothing from you. And 24 says, in the last verse of 14, save only that which the young men have eaten in the portion of the men which went with me, and there, Eshcol, Mamre, let them take their portion. I don't want nothing from you. Let them take theirs. But me, I don't want anything. Going right into chapter 15, verse 1. Let's read. And we only have 21 to go. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram. I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. God, I live to hear those words. And you hear them and you speak prophecy over your own life, okay? But, oh man, thy exceeding great reward. The Lord said to Abram, I am thy exceeding great reward. Lord, would you be my exceeding great reward today and every day in 2022? 2, and Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And thy steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus. Oh God, yes. Now you guys can connect Eleazar and Abraham. Remember I told you Abraham had a right-hand man, had a nice noble guy, upright guy before the Lord, and he told Dionysus and Olympian Zeus when they were in the temple, polluting the temple and stuff, in the second Maccabees chapter 6. Second Maccabees chapter 6. Research, just Google it. And it's going to tell you that Eleazar said, I'd rather obey God than to eat your pork. I'd rather obey God than to follow your pagan ways. I'd rather obey God than to fall in temptation with man. So, oh, Eleazar, my God. He is mentioned in the Bible, y'all. 3. And Abram said, Behold, to me, thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. 4. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. Abraham and them at their age, 99, 100, and so on and so forth, they don't believe that they can have children. He's trying to reason with God. You gave me everything but a seed. I have everything but a child. So verse 4 says, no, verse 5. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. 6. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. Remember in the New Testament it says the seed of Abraham's was accounted for righteousness. Oh my God. Wow, 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 wow. Make the connection, people. Make the connection. Wow. So Paul studied Old Covenant, okay? That's all I'm going to say here, guys. And it goes on to say in verse 7, And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of the land of Ur, of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And this is what it's all about. What God gave to Abraham, the American government, the Vatican, and Buckingham Palace thinks is theirs. And they killed, steal, and destroyed to get it. Okay? 9. And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. This where they get that 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. A bird in the hand, right? They said is worth 2 in the bush, right? I'm trying to tell you. Them turtle doves, honey. Turtle doves. And a young pigeon. They got old pigeons, y'all. He want a young one. And 10 says, And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. 11. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. That's deep. 13. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. First up, Egypt. Second up, America. And it's kind of funny and kind of creepy and scary all at the same time. Really strange and bewildering, marveling at the fact that we were in captivity 400 years in Egypt, and we were in captivity 400 plus years over here in America. So he says, and they're going to afflict your people. 14, and also that nation. And remember, God likens America unto Egypt, right? A house of bondage. Why are we not paying attention to these things? They shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. He like, look, go down there and be their slave for 400 years. And when your descendants come out, Abraham, they're going to be the richest things in the world. 15. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. 16. And in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. 17. The iniquities of the Amorites. I have to study that, guys. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, oven, and a burning lamp, torch, that passed between those pieces. 18. And in the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, which was in the Garden of Eden. Remember, we read that. 19, or was connected to it. The Kenites and the Kenizzites and the Kadmonites. 20, and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rephaims. And the last verse of the morning read. And 21, and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgashites and the Jebusites are all the dang on people we got to fight in this Bible. Why the heck? Everybody is named. But the Israelis. What's up with that, y'all? And with that being said, that ends the morning read. Shalom to you guys. God bless you. And have a great, I was going to say day, but I guess it's night. Have a great night, y'all. Have a great night. Thank you so much for listening. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. So today, Genesis chapter 13, 14, and 15, we learned that Abraham was a very rich man, and that's why the rest of the world wanted to be attached to his covenant, right? We learned that God gave him everything but a child at this point in time. His name is Abram and not yet changed to Abraham. We learned that him and Lot fall out. We learned that Lot goes on to turn against him, treason against his own people, right? What else did we learn today? We learned that it doesn't matter what time you read this Bible, just read it for the love of God and no other reason, right? Other than to apply it to your life and make the best of it, right? Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. I love this beat right here. So yeah, shalom everybody. God bless you. Have a good day. You've been tuned into the Morning Read episode 317 via ReligionWinked TV, and y'all know my spiritual ear stay. Shalom everybody. God bless you and peace. Yeah, that went fast. 40, not even 45 minutes. That went really fast. Peace, everybody.